In this video we're going to be talking about proper tire maintenance. This is my car. This is a 2003 Mitsubishi Galant. But what I'm going to show you today is going to apply to the majority of vehicles on the road. I'm going to show you how you can check the tread of your tires for different wear patterns and what those different wear patterns mean for your tires. I'm going to show you how to find the correct air pressure to keep in your tires, how to properly rotate your tires, and also how to diagnose different alignment issues. So how do you know how much air to put in your tires? Well, if you open up your driver's side door, you'll find a sticker. Usually it's on the door jamb, as we see here. Sometimes it's on the actual door itself. This sticker will tell you exactly where your tires need to be as far as inflation is concerned. For my car, it says 32 psi for the front tires and 29 psi for the rear. This is the cold inflation pressure, meaning you want to add air or take air out of your tires when they're cold, when you haven't driven on them, because when you drive on them and as your tires heat up, the air heats up inside them and it actually expands. Sort of adds a little bit more pressure to them. So if you check your tires when they're warm, they may seem alright, but when they cool down and that air actually contracts back, you're going to be low. So always check your tire pressure and add or subtract air when the tires are cold and you haven't driven on them. So now that we know how much air we need to have in our tires, we're going to go ahead and check them. I have a digital tire gauge here. You can get the digital ones or just the ones where the end sort of pops out. But I'm just going to check my tire here. This is the front tire that has to be at 32. So I'm going to set my gauge on here and just push it on and check. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm right at 32 psi. So I'm right where I need to be, so that tire's good. We'll go check the other three tires and I'll come back. Go ahead and check the rear tires here. They should be at 29 on my car, and they're right on 29. So I just got to my third tire here in the back, and I am a little bit low on this tire. It's at about 27 psi when it should be 29. So I'm going to add a little bit of air to it. Now I have an air compressor, so I can fill up my own tires at home. But if you don't have an air compressor and you have to go to a gas station or something to add air to your tires, that's all fine. Just make sure you take your own tire pressure gauge with you and check it. Because a lot of those machines at gas stations and all that, they get knocked out of calibration pretty much. They usually have gauges on them, but they're hardly ever accurate. So filling them up at a gas station is fine. Just make sure you take one of your tire pressure gauges with you and check it when you're done, just to make sure that it is at the right pressure that you need. So I'm just going to add a little bit. I only need to add a couple of pounds to this tire. 2-3 pounds. And then I'll just check it here with my gauge. And I'm right on the money. So this one's ready to go. And we'll be going to the spare next. You don't want to forget about checking your spare tire. If you get a flat tire or something and you need it, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you do not want your spare tire to be flat too. So we'll check that one next. Okay, so we're in the trunk now. I just checked the spare tire and the pressure's just fine in that, so no need to add any air to that. By the way, if you're thinking that air compressors are really expensive for some reason and that they're only good for airing up tires, this little compressor I got, it's only 5.5 gallon, which is relatively small. I paid about $150 for that, and that is not bad. That's a good compressor. It's on wheels. You can keep it in your garage, air up your tires whenever you want, and You can use a lot of different other tools with air compressors. I have an impact wrench here. It's really good for taking off lug nuts, for changing wheels or rotating tires or whatever. And there's a ton of other different tools that can be used with it. Okay, so now that we got our tires inflated and at the proper pressures where they need to be, we're going to look at the tread of the tires. First thing I look at is the depth of the tread. These tires have about 1/4 of an inch of tread depth left, and that's just fine. These tires are alright to drive on still. I'd say anything about 1/8 of an inch or below as far as the depth, you're going to want to think about getting those tires replaced. They're basically at the end of their life cycle, so you should probably change those out pretty soon. Next thing I'm going to look at is how the tread is wearing from the inner part of the tire to the outer part. These treads look pretty good. A couple different things here. If you look at the inner part of your tire, sort of the middle, and you see the tread wearing away in the middle, but it's still good on the edges, that's going to be because you have your tires overinflated. When they're overinflated, the middles bulge out and there's more of the middle part of the tire on the ground, so that wears out first before the sides, before the edges. Same thing for the outer edges. If just the outer edges here and on the inside are worn, that's because your tires are underinflated. And the center of the tire sort of stays up off the ground a little bit more than the edges, and the edges wear out. Now if you see one or the other, one edge wearing or the other, not both together, one or the other, either the outer or the inner, just wearing by themselves, that's going to be an alignment issue. Basically, how this tire and how the wheel sits, it's called camber. Basically, when a tire is straight up and down, that's a neutral camber. If the top is sort of tilted in like that, that's a positive camber. If it's tilted out a little bit, that's a negative camber. So if you see just the outer edge wearing, that's going to be an alignment problem. You have too much negative camber, too much of the tire and wheel tilting outwards, and the same thing for the inner tread. If you just see the inner tread wearing, that's because you have too much positive camber, too much of that wheel and tire tilting in. The only way you're going to get that fixed is to go to an alignment shop. They can check everything for you, tell you if it's out of whack, and zero everything out to where your car needs to be. So we're at the back of the car now, looking forward, and I just wanted to mention a quick little bit about rotating your tires. A lot of people don't know how to rotate their tires properly. So basically what you're looking at here is these are steel belted radial tires. These are probably the most common tires you're going to come across. The rotation pattern for these, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can either swap them back to front and front to back, or you can take the back ones, crisscross those to the front, and move the front straight back. That's the way you rotate a steel belted radial. Doesn't matter which way you do it really, but you want to do it one of those two ways. Back to front, front to back, or back, crisscrossed to the front, and the front straight back. Now as far as rotating your tires is concerned, sometimes you're going to run across tires that are directional, meaning that it matters which way the tire spins. Okay, these are aftermarket wheels and tires that I put on my car in the summer, and these do have a specific rotation to them. If you look right down here on the tire, you can see it says right there rotation, and it has an arrow. That's the way that the tire needs to spin. Okay, so if you're going to rotate your tires, check your tires and make sure they're not directional. If they are, they'll be marked something like this, something, some kind of an arrow or something. If they are rotational like these, you do not want to go crisscrossing these whenever you rotate your tires. Basically, with rotational tires, you move the front ones to the back and the back ones to the front. Don't crisscross them, because then they'll be facing the wrong way, and you do not want to do that. Okay, that's going to do it for today. Hopefully some of you found this video helpful. You know, it's important to take care of your car as best you can. Even the mundane stuff like keeping your tires in check is important. It all plays a role in the reliability of the car, the safety, and let's not forget about fuel economy. The number one thing you can do to get the best fuel economy out of your car is to keep your tires at the correct air pressure. So, you know, on top of maintaining the car and getting the longest life you can out of your tires, you can keep a little extra money in your pocket at the same time. So, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and take care.